This is macOS Ken.
An update for a phone you don't even have yet, lots of anticipated features in the latest round of betas, and a trailer for a troubled Apple TV Plus series. It is Thursday, the 15th of September, 2022. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by SimpliSafe, the right way to protect your home. The whole point of a security system is keeping your home safe and keeping your home feeling safe. So why choose a security company that starts with sending strangers into your house? One of my favorite parts about SimpliSafe is how much you do yourself. From picking the sensors, cameras, and other kit that's right for you, to placing them and setting it up yourself. I had my door sensors, keypad, and base station set up in under an hour. Really simple. Now when that's done, SimpliSafe goes to work. With round-the-clock professional monitoring, SimpliSafe's agents call you as soon as they see a problem and send police or first responders in an emergency, even if you're not home or can't be reached. Their customer-first policies make sure you are taken care of with affordable plans starting at less than $1 a day, no long-term contracts, and no hidden fees. Find out more. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/macOSKen. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring. SIMPLI. Go to simplysafe.com/macOSKen. When you get your new iPhone 14, iPhone 14 Pro, or iPhone 14 Pro Max tomorrow, you will already have an update waiting. 9to5Mac says Apple has released iOS 16.0.1 specifically for the new devices, even though it hasn't officially released the new devices. Let's go on a bug fix. According to Apple's release notes, the update fixes an issue with activation and migration during setup of iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro. Photos may appear soft when zooming in landscape orientation on iPhone 14 Pro Max, and enterprise single sign-on apps may fail to authenticate. If you're worried that you'll forget, Apple should have you covered. 9to5Mac says iOS can detect and prompt users to install any system updates during the first setup, so you should have iOS 16.0.1 from hello or just after. Seems like only 3 days ago that Apple released iOS 16, watchOS 9, and tvOS 16, mostly because it was. And yet here we are looking at the first betas of iOS 16.1, watchOS 9.1, tvOS 16.1, and the second beta of iPadOS 16.1. Well, developers are anyway. Apple Insider says all 4 of those were seeded to developers on Wednesday. Lots of stuff we thought we'd see in this week's releases looks like it'll be following along soon. For example, a piece from 9to5Mac heralds the return of the Live Activities API in the iOS 16.1 beta. If you have forgotten what those are, the piece has Apple saying Live Activities display and update an app's most current data on the iPhone's lock screen. This allows people to see live information they care about the most at a glance. A piece from Mac Rumors says the iOS 16.1 beta is making way for Matter. Matter is a smart home standard supported by Apple, Amazon, and Google. It should make compatible Internet of Things play better in each ecosystem and make them easier to monitor and control. That standard launches this fall, and Mac Rumor says Apple is getting ready with a Matter accessories section in settings in the latest developer beta. According to the report, tapping into the Matter accessories section suggests that it will display all Matter accessories that have been added to a connected service. These can also be added to additional services with an app that supports Matter, reads the text. Worth noting, The standard hasn't even launched yet, and before that, this might not be for the faint of heart. Mac Rumors has Apple saying that pairing Matter accessories first requires a profile installed on your device. There are also several other known issues with the Matter standard at the current time, with workarounds available on Apple's site. The list of known issues makes it seem not worth it to me, but that's me. And again, this is a developer beta. Probably worth it to some of them. You can now officially lose your Apple Wallet, or will be able to when iOS 16.1 rolls your way. A piece from 9to5Mac says the wallet joins the list of pre-installed features that can be yanked from the operating system, likely owing to lawsuits and antitrust concerns. Peeks at Code had indicated that the wallet app would be deletable. 9to5Mac says yesterday's developer beta confirms that. Of course, users who kill the wallet won't be able to use Apple Pay unless they bring the wallet back. The report says trying to use an associated feature will prompt the message, "Download the wallet app from the App Store." Apple's stealth feature for iOS 16, clean energy charging, is starting to rev up. This is the feature that Apple announced in a footnote to its iOS 16 press release earlier this week. That footnote said the feature aims to decrease the carbon footprint of the iPhone by optimizing charging times for when the grid is using cleaner energy sources. Documentation for the iOS 16.1 beta says a little bit more. A piece from 9to5Mac has Apple explaining, in your region, iPhone will try to reduce your carbon footprint by selectively charging when lower carbon emissions electricity is available. iPhone learns from your daily charging routine so it can reach full charge before you need to use it. 9to5Mac's Chance Miller says the feature was actually already toggled on when they checked it out. That area in settings also linked to an article with more information. That article's not there yet, though, probably because this is a developer beta, not an actual release. And good news for owners of some older iPhones who want to know exactly when their battery is about to run out. I told you yesterday of the battery percentage counter available on the iOS 16 home screen. Basically, if you toggle on battery percentage in settings, you get a little cartoon battery in the upper right corner of the screen with a number inside. That number is the percentage of charge left in your battery. Disappointing news for some to start the week was that that indicator was not available for iPhones XR, 11, 12 mini, and 13 mini. Now a piece from Mac Rumors says those phones do have access to that feature under the iOS 16.1 developer beta. That should mean it'll be available for folks sporting those phones in the relatively near future. Now, if you just can't wait to get your hands on all of that, both Apple and Apple Insider really think you should wait, unless you're a developer or have some extra gear laying around. Apple Insider says both parties strongly advise that users avoid installing betas onto mission-critical or primary devices, as there is the remote possibility of data loss or other issues. Instead, testers should install betas onto secondary or non-essential hardware, and to ensure there are sufficient backups of important data before updating. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, BetterHelp. You might be a great problem solver, but can you always identify the problem? Can you always see when there is a problem that needs to be fixed? I've had it happen where attitudes and situations just are. In my mind, they're just states of being, not issues that can be taken care of. Problems to be solved. Therapy can help reframe some of that thinking, turning "that's just the way it is" into "here's a thing I could do." If you're ready for that, there's BetterHelp. BetterHelp won't fix everything, but a therapist can help you become a better problem solver, making it easier to accomplish your goals, no matter how big or small. I like BetterHelp's convenience and their flexibility. You tell them the kinds of things you want to work on and the kind of therapist you want to work with, and they work to find the right therapist for you. You can be matched with someone in under 48 hours and start talking via phone, video chat, or text. I tend to like phone, but whatever works best for you, that is how BetterHelp works. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/macOSken today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/macOSken. betterhelp.com/macOSken. And thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's show. Here is something you don't see every day. Apple's website was down last night. Not one of those cute be back soon times. More, well, catastrophic is a strong word, but it certainly wasn't situation normal. 8-something on the West Coast Wednesday night, 9 to 5 Mac ran a report saying that Apple.com was down and returning a 403 error message saying, "You don't have permission to access this resource." I'm guessing fixes were already underway by the time I saw the site at around 9:20 Pacific. When I got there, it looked like a lot of the earliest websites I remember, with text aligned left and clickable blue hyperlinks. Those did link to working web pages further into the site. The bar at the top pointing people to various products and services was also working as well. For the problematic pages, 9 to 5 Mac says the site for the US and other parts of the world were affected. Whatever the problem, it didn't last long. The site was back to rights around 9:45 Pacific Daylight Time. Apple's VP of Health is headed to Portugal. 9 to 5 Mac says Dr. Sumbul Desai will be speaking at Web Summit 2022, month after next, in Lisbon. According to the blurb on her appearance, Apple VP of Health Sumbul Desai is in a unique position at the intersection of health and technology. In this session, Sumbul describes how Apple is utilizing the power of tech to revolutionize public health in the 21st century with innovations in wearables, Apple Watch, iPhone, and iOS. Web Summit 2022 is set for Thursday, the 3rd of November. Apple's next store in South Korea opens next week. The Cupertino company launched a new page announcing the outlet. According to a Google translation of that page, a new Apple store is coming soon to Jamsul, which has been leading the prosperity of Seoul. In standard PR speak, the site promises resources for bringing unique ideas to life, getting inspired, or simply time and space to recharge. Doors at Apple Jamsul in Lot World Mall are set to open on Saturday, the 24th of September. Business hours will run from 10:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. And finally today, one of the most troubled series on Apple TV Plus finally has a trailer. The Cupertino streamer let fly with the trailer for Shantaram on Wednesday. You may remember the trouble this series has seen. The Hollywood Reporter ran an article about Apple grabbing the rights for the show in 2018. In February of 2020, production on the show was halted, according to a piece from Variety. Not a victim of COVID that time. Rather, the guy they had hired as showrunner and screenwriter hadn't written all the scripts by the time they had already shot 2 episodes. Then the show was a victim of COVID. Well, that and finding a writer to write the show, which reports say they did in November of 2020. Now, over 4 years after Apple nabbed the title, the world gets to see Charlie Hunnam, Alexander Siddig, Antonia Desplat, and others in action. Based on the internationally best-selling novel by Gregory David Roberts, Apple's description for the show says, Shantaram follows a fugitive named Lynn Ford, looking to get lost in vibrant and chaotic 1980s Bombay. Alone in an unfamiliar city, Lynn struggles to avoid the troubles he's running from in this new place. After falling for an enigmatic and intriguing woman named Carla, Lynn must choose between freedom or love and the complications that come with it. The trailer is up now on YouTube. Shantaram starts its Apple TV Plus run on Friday, the 14th of October. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by SimpliSafe. Get a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring at simplysafe.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.